Hello everyone. Welcome to Hill Street. Today's story is Hell's Closet. If you end up enjoying this story, please leave a like. If you enjoy hearing stories from me, please subscribe. Let me know how I'm doing in the comments. Now, let's get into this nightmare. My grandparents had a 2-story home, where my father and his 2 siblings grew up. I always hated visiting their house, not because of my grandparents, but because the house always left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Something was off about the air in there. The way the air would hit my lungs would leave a stale, cold feeling in my chest. There was one aspect in particular that caused me to feel intense dread whenever I was in that house, and that was the 2nd floor. My grandparents both have had issues with walking ever since my dad went away for college as a young adult. As a result, everything on the 2nd floor of their home had been left untouched ever since the day when my father and his siblings left for college. My grandparents simply could never make it back up the narrow, creaky stairs to the 2nd floor due to their mobility problems. Everything upstairs lay frozen in time. Kids' bedrooms perfectly preserved in the 60s and 70s wallpaper, fashion, and toys of that time. I hated it. It made me feel uneasy, and that part of the house always smelled like dank, rotting wood. Old-fashioned lunchbox tins, outdated clothes and styles, and even typewriters were some of the things that could be found upstairs. I was never interested, but my cousin was. My cousin, who was the same age as me, loved to bully me at that time in our childhood. He knew how to make me angry, but also how to scare me. I was about 6 or 7 when this happened. It was my grandfather's birthday, and my cousin challenged myself and my younger brother to a game of hide and seek. He knew I hated the upstairs part of our grandparents' home, which meant I knew exactly where he would be hiding. There's something you should know about my grandfather. A long time ago, my grandfather was a very successful painter. The house was adorned with his creations, and his masterpieces hung from almost every available inch of their tacky wallpaper. My grandfather had several pieces which were lost to him because they had been placed somewhere upstairs at some point in time, decades ago, when he could still walk. Sometimes we would stumble across them during our adventures upstairs. As my family was helping prepare the birthday dinner, my brother and cousin ran off to find a good place to hide. I began with the 1st floor, naturally. It was not long before I found my brother hiding behind a couch in the den. I felt much better knowing that if I had to go upstairs to search for my cousin, that my brother would at least be with me. Unfortunately for me, my cousin was not anywhere to be found on the 1st floor. We slowly made our way upstairs, the stench of mildew and old wood filling my nose. The stairs creaked under the small weights of our bodies, and I wondered to myself if one day the ceiling would cave in and all of those perfectly preserved memories and rotten wood would come crashing down into modern day. My thoughts were interrupted by the sounds of knocking coming from the upstairs hallway closet. I figured maybe my cousin slipped on something in the darkness and he had unwittingly revealed his location to us. I crept towards the closet, and to my surprise, the knocking sounds continued. My cousin was smarter than this. What was he doing? I grasped the closet doorknob and turned it slowly. The vast darkness of the closet was now exposed to the light of the day. Creeping in through the shutters revealed an array of strange art. Each of the coat hangers in the closet had a wooden panel attached to the hook, which had paintings of faces on them. Some of the faces were familiar, family, or celebrities. Some were unknown to me. Something hit my feet on the floor. I looked down and made eye contact with one of the coat hanger face paintings. She had wild, frizzy black hair and eyes which stared right through me. I felt like she could see me, just as I was seeing her. She wore a crooked smile that felt wicked. I realized something, more as I looked closer at the details. My grandfather had never painted the pupils, and there was something more. Under her head were a set of words scrawled out in red paint. It read,
"You are going to hell right now."
I screamed, and my brother went to pick up the hanger to see what I had just witnessed. He dropped it as soon as he placed his hand over it. When he lifted his hand, we could see that the red paint was still wet. It was all over my brother's hand. This had to be my cousin's doing. My cousin, alerted by my screams, came running out of my uncle's bedroom where he had been hiding. When he looked over my shoulder and saw the dripping message under the horrible face, he began to scream and cry even louder than I had. I heard what sounded like soft rainfall, and I turned to see that my cousin had urinated himself. This couldn't have been him. The sounds of heavy footsteps could be heard coming from the direction of my uncle's childhood bedroom at the end of the hall. They were as loud as thunder. As my screams intensified, my vision began to blur. The next thing I remember is my father consoling us in the kitchen, while my mother screamed obscenities at my grandfather. My parents, to this day, believe that my grandfather had some sort of senile episode where he had modified one of his old paintings. I don't believe that. My cousin doesn't believe that. We know he couldn't even make it up the first few stairs. Sometimes I wonder what happened in those few moments where my fear took over and both my memory and my vision had escaped me. Sometimes I wonder if I ever really did get away, or if this whole time I have been living my life in hell, never having made it out of my grandparents' closet. The end. That was Hell's Closet. If you ended up enjoying this story, please leave a like. I hope you all have had a great day, and have a good night.